Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is a meeting of the Appointments Committee, September 30th, 2025 at 3 o'clock in the Selectmen Conference Room in the second floor of the Town Hall building. This meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to make their presence known. Seeing none, this meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. May also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live video on-demand archives on the Town of Barnstable's website. I will do roll call. Councillor Crowe.
Here.
Councillor Burdick.
Present.
Councillor Bloom. Councillor Bloom.
Here.
Councillor Mendez.
Here.
Councillor Turkelson, chair is here. And we're going to start with Mr. Tom Lee today, who's applied for reappointment to the Conservation Commission to a term expiring 6/30 of 2028. He needs to get to another meeting, so we're letting him jump in line here, jump to the front of the queue. Councillor Mendez, would you like to start?
No questions.
Councillor Bloom?
Well, I've seen Tom in action for 2 years now, and I really don't have any questions for Tom. Speed it along, you know.
Okay, he has an hour, so you could ask him a question. Because I don't think it's a meeting for the next 3 minutes. So no questions,
No.
Councilor? Councilor Burdick, are you looking for paperwork?
I'm just rummaging.
Oh, okay.
It's my traditional
Yeah.
rummaging.
Yeah.
But, hi, Tom. We've never met in person. I've watched you many, many times, though, at all kinds of different meetings. And, I don't know, just for the sake of it, I guess, since you did come here and everything, I always ask people about tell me about your professional life.
My professional life?
Yeah, just out of curiosity.
I'm an engineer for the water resource in terms of the water supply, drinking water, and wastewater specifically. So that's why, when I apply for the Board of Health, I said, well, I know my wastewater stuff. My Board of Health, I can do that, my knowledge too. So that's why I go to Board of Health as well.
Yeah. So you have a long career in wastewater.
Yes.
For all kinds of different, everything.
Right.
Any specific concentration in it, or just everything that has to do with hydrological issues?
Everything had to do with the hydrological issues because, my graduate degree is in wastewater treatments. And then I work in the drinking water treatment process. It's all treatment process, easier to deal with. It's easy to understand. So to me, I just apply what my knowledge is, and that's all. That's over 40 plus years now. This is between Canada and here because I spent at least 15, 16 years in Canada in the same field, and when I came down here, working in the same field.
Yeah. Canada for 16 years.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you have dual citizenship between Canada and Canada? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
There you go. So you're well qualified. And how long has it been? You've been on the Conservation Commission quite a while now.
It's almost 20. This is 19, close to 20 years.
Yeah.
Since 2006, and I've been with the chair for 10 years, and so I pretty much know all the ins and outs, how to run the commissions and the agenda and all that stuff.
Right. It must have been a lot of change over those years. It's
Oh, yeah.
been an evolving process.
Well, the first few years is not. Only the last few years, because if you look at our membership-wise, the last 3 new commissioner came in pretty much the last 4 years. So all the other 3, we have 6 right now. So, John Peake and myself are up close to more than 20 plus years. And then the other 3 are called up between 1 and 4 years. So there is quite a gap between the two segments of the.
Yeah, I meant more in terms of the applicable regulations for wastewater management and for conservation. Do you know what I mean in terms of the evolution of the regulation of those things? Right, it's an ongoing process, isn't it, in terms of how the
Any regulation is
federal and
always a
state
change.
regulations that come down?
Well, even for the Concom, we are only looking at the wetland protection act.
Right.
From time to time, they're making some changes, and we have to see what kind of changes. You know, if you're looking at the wastewater from the Title V, which is quite a drastic change for the last few years.
Right.
Then you have to pay attention what's being changed and how to apply that.
Right.
From the regulation standpoint.
There you go, I had some questions, so there you go.
I appreciate you participating. Thank you so much.
My turn, okay. Tom, you're on a number of commissions, you're on the health, and what was the other one? There's a third-
CPC.
CPC, and how long have you been on both of those?
CPC, I forgot, 10+ years.
10+ years?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then the Board of Health, I think at least 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
because I was on a, not a full member board, but just on sit on the side, depending on what they have that, you know, opening or not. So I was just joined it in as a full membership, like maybe 4 to 5 years, that's about it.
okay. All right, you've obviously been involved in a lot of decisions over the years. What do you think was the most impactful to the town? Or one or two decisions that you might remember that were things that that you spent a lot of time on and you think that were significant to the town of Barnstable?
There's a few projects. One is the wind projects, which is quite an involvement in terms of the public, notifications and making public comment stuff. And then lately is that 32 Preston Hill.
2 Pleasant Hill,
Yeah.
okay. All right, and those are both hot topics, obviously.
Yeah.
The wind market has all significantly changed also with the difference in administrations. Where do you see it going from this point on?
Which administration, the town or the state?
Federal and state?
I don't know how much we can affect in terms of the federal, because we still have to stay with the wetland protection that's stipulated by the state. Any changes from there, that will have to change our jurisdictions under the Wetland Protection Act. Unless the federal is gonna change that Wetland Protection Act. Otherwise, we are not changing in terms of our regulations, but we have to watch what is being changed and how we adapt to it to change.
Okay. I've got nothing else.
Tom, thanks for coming today. As far as, this sense that you have a group of people at the top, or not the top, just the way I envision it, I'm not trying to say anything, not trying to imply anything. We have a group of people like yourselves and some others who have lots of experience, we have these new people. How has this board or this commission worked to take these new members in to bring them up to speed so that there's, because as far as I see it, obviously you have a vast knowledge and the people that have been with you for a long time have a vast knowledge. But we always kind of want to be thinking about what will we do if Mr. Lee decides he's leaving? Or he got sick for some reason, or he had a horrible accident, or he just was fed up and he decided to leave tomorrow. And we rely heavily on this person or group of people who are all knowledgeable, and then we don't have anybody in the pipeline, or maybe we take some people in. How do you see kind of the life cycle of the board, and how do you get your new people on board? How did you get them up to speed? Because obviously you have great knowledge.
We have already involved Angela Tanley as the vice chair, and she just joined us for like 2-3 years, trying to bring her up to the speed and understanding the operations of the Concom. Because this is all part of the succession plan, because I cannot stay there for that long. I have to retire, I have to go, my age is getting up there. I have to, look at how I can transition to the next generations that can run this smoothly and understand the whole operation. That takes time. It's not just like 1 year, 2 years and trying to make that work. It's a long-term process in terms of the training. So I started that already with Angela. So the other commissioner, if there's a chance that we can bring them in, we will. That's how I'm thinking.
And how come it would take, you have other people that have been there for a while, I guess, like, what do you think would be a realistic amount of time for somebody who's new to be able to step into either a chair or a vice chair's shoes?
The question is, trying to understand the wetland protection that it takes at least, to my estimation, at least 4 or 5 years just to understand that piece. And then you have to understand how you're gonna apply that with the conservation divisions, with the staff. And the question is like, you also have to deal with the DEP, and you also have to deal with the staff and trying to intermingle all that questions in terms of back and forth. So it's not a simple process that, yes, you can take a look at this application. That's why, in general, right now, and Charlie may know that, we have a agenda meeting before each hearing to go through all the application and generate all the questions that we have. And if we have a harder question that we cannot answer, or we need more information from the DEP, we will contact them.
And when is the agenda meeting and who attends those meetings and how are they handled?
I have the agenda meeting with the conservation's administrator and the vice chair. Only 3 of us.
Oh, no, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
we
so
go
you're-
through that,
Yeah, so you're kind of weeding out and getting the questions answered and making sure that you're up to speed or that
Correct.
whoever else needs to be up to speed. Okay, and
and
is,
we can also send that question back to the applicants before the hearing so that they can have all the answers ready to go.
and as far as getting new members on board and training them, whose responsibility is it to bring those new members into the fold and say you have a new member who maybe has some experience in conservation of some sort, maybe they've been in front of the conservation, commission themselves, like how do you get those newbies on boards? Because obviously, if it takes 4 to 5 years to get somebody up to be a chair, so how are you, or how is the town even kind of training people? Because it sounds like there's a lot to know.
Well, number one is that we encourage them to take the MECC classes, for the conservations. And then secondly, because of all different applications, we have to train the new commissioner trying to understand on the blueprint or go out to the site visit to look at each site differently. Because we have to apply the wetland protection at each site depending on what parameter are we looking at. So that is very important for the site visits.
Okay.
We asked, even the old commissioner, we can kind of match up, the new commissioner. If we want to go to the site, make arrangement with a certain commissioner to go to the site visit so that they are not going alone and learns from someone else.
Okay, and as far as, one of the questions I asked another member who's on a board and wants to be on another board, I think he's only on one other board. What's your feeling about having one person in multiple places in the level of kind of, I don't know what the right word would be,
I think it's
too few people in too many places. As far as having, yourself like in three places, we have other people who are in 3 or 4 places. How do you think that does for our town as far as being able to spread out workloads and spread out opinions and not have kind of capture where.
So I can only speak for myself in terms of, from my perspective wise, from the CPC, that was a position assigned to the conservation commissions. So I'm taking that slot from the conservation side. And at that time, when I moved it over there, and I said, oh, yeah, that's interesting, I can learn something about funding, about housing and all this stuff, so I can learn something. So it's depending on the comfort level in terms of the subject, whether you're interested or not. And then lately, when I joined the Board of Health, I said, well, I know my subject, I know my Title V stuff. I can be a voice on the Board of Health to give my opinion. That's why I joined. And, time-wise, to me, I'm lucky that the company let me do whatever I want to do time-wise, that I don't have to worry about, chargeable hours, stuff like that from the company side. I can spend whatever time I want to do in terms of this stuff. Because when I look at it, it's like conservation is the most time-consuming committee because of the 3 different meetings, a month and then 3 different agenda meetings. It was 6 meetings plus any additional conversation I have to spend with the administrator, at least 2 days a week for me. And then from the Board of Health, maybe 1 day, half a day, I can do it because it's only 1 month a meeting. So to me, that's nothing.
And as far as the feeder for the CPC, that comes from the Conservation Commission, feeds into the CPC.
Yeah.
And do you make that position available to anybody in the Conservation Commission, or is it something you just take upon yourself and you've
I just
delegated that to yourself?
I just take upon myself to do it, but right now, I mean, at this point, next month, when we have the CPC meeting, I'm gonna step down from the vice chair and let some other, capable person from the CPC to pick up that positions. But I'm looking for someone to succeed me as well from the conservation. So I'm looking at succession size of things too.
Okay, and as far as, I know that you were asked to hold a public meeting here in Town Hall for the 32 Pleasant Hill. Do you think that, and you did not honor that request of the residents to have an in-person hearing? I watched that meeting, it was a little bit chaotic. How would you explain to the average resident who maybe wants a face-to-face so they feel heard on a hot-button issue when something's kind of a little more hidden or challenging on Zoom where, it's just not as human-friendly as an in-person meeting?
We went through a lot of the discussions for the last couple of years because some of the commissions want to have an in-person meeting and some want to have a Zoom meeting. So every year we have that discussion and we made a vote on that. So I mean, this one, we come through at the end of, next term coming in next June, that we will be looking at that again. Because at one point, we're talking about maybe we can do in the wintertime, do the Zoom meeting, in the summertime, when the weather is good, we can do in-person meeting. So that is the kind of trend that we are heading into.
Okay, well, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you coming in.
No problem. Thank you for
You're welcome.
interviewing me on the first time. The first meeting.
First along.
Yep.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
Your name is?
Christina Carrington.
Christina, come on up.
Would you like me to sit down?
Yeah, come have a seat.
How are you all doing this afternoon?
Good, how are you?
This is Christina Carrington. She is applying for the Recreation Commission. There are 3-member vacancies with terms ending in 6/30/26 and 2 in 6/30/28. And Councillor Bloom, would you like to start?
Sure. Christina, what interested you in applying for the Recreation Commission?
There was many things. I did belong to Park and Rec Committee in Ledyard, Connecticut from like 2012 to 2014.
Oh.
I was a Girl Scout leader. I was had a concession stand for football, helped my daughter cheerleading, school PTO president, things like that. But of course, my kids are older now. One just recently got married here on the date.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So I also want to give back to the community that I live in. And I've gone over some of the meetings they had, and it seemed like something I would be interested in. Working towards a common goal to make the community better. Meet people, stay connected here. I owned a house here with my husband for 5 years, and I became a permanent resident back in February. My dream job came open at Buzzards Bay, and I said it's time to step up and see some support. And then noticing they had a deficit in people that were on the committee, I thought now would be the perfect time.
Yeah.
So
With your background, that was perfect choice. Yeah. Well, thank you. That gives me what I needed to know.
well, thank you.
Councillor Mendez?
Well, he asked my question, so. And it's recreation, so no questions.
Councillor Crum?
What is your dream job down on?
I work for the Corps of Engineers over at the Railroad Bridge.
Okay,
So I'm admin there. I transferred from NAVC over at Electric Boat. We oversee Electric Boat over in Groton, Connecticut.
okay.
I came here a little earlier than expected, but there was about 5 jobs open at the time, and I jumped at this one.
So you can get back down to the Cape?
I'm here permanently.
Yeah.
My husband lives in Connecticut, and he comes to see me on the weekends. For now, he's still working. I'm
I'll
sorry?
be joining you down here in the Cape at
Yeah,
some point.
as you can see, I'm a little tan.
You say Groton?
Yes, Groton. My husband works over at Yukon at the town of Mansfield. He's public works
Well,
director there.
It's not too bad a drive.
No, not bad at all,
Or something like
except
that.
on Fridays
Yeah.
in the summer.
Okay. You hit on one issue that we have a number of openings on the Recreation Commission, and I talked to some of the people there when I was seeing the playgrounds that were both in Centerville and Ossville that are coming up. And they see that they certainly need a little revitalization, and so it'd be good to have another new face there and helping them out. What do you see that you can do for the Recreation Department that you don't see already happening?
I don't know the last time somebody came in that was a stranger. So you have the insights of coming in with a different point of view, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess we all have point of views, but it's nice to be able to put it all into a pot together and come up with something and collaborate.
Yeah.
So anything I can help with, I'd really like to help with on that side of the house.
Yeah, we're certainly okay with strangers here. We have a lot of people that are new, and it's a nice community, they'll welcome you and that kind of stuff.
I'm used to working with children and kids of all ages, so it's be nice to see youth
Yeah.
again, or if it's, be a part of that.
Okay.
Hi, Nina.
As long as you're okay with being called a wash ashore the rest of your life, then you're good.
A what?
A wash ashore.
Well, originally I'm from Massachusetts, so.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, so.
Okay, that's all I have.
Councilor Brennan?
So 24 years of federal service. That was at the electric boat?
It was all over. I started with the IRS, proceeded to Fort Devens for the Army. I met my husband there, we married. I worked in Missouri. I worked at Fort Belvoir. I worked at the sub base in Groton. I worked at the Coast Guard Academy. I worked for the Department of Interior in Rhode Island.
Huh.
My last establishment
All
was
over
NAVSE.
the place.
Yeah,
For the Department of Defense, it would have been, on all those spots, or all?
no,
individual?
Defense, Interior, Navy.
Yeah.
Yep, never worked for the Marines yet.
Still in time.
Never too late.
I'm 58, I've got 24 years in, and I had a long break for 10 years, obviously taking care of my children, going to school, and
Yeah.
being part of their lives when they were in school, which I think benefited tremendously. I had that opportunity to do so, and I did.
What do you have to get to, 30 years?
I think I can retire at any point right now,
Yeah.
but I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, no, why
Just-
bother?
yeah.
You can enjoy it, your dream job. What does your dream job entail then?
I look right out at the water at the
So
canal.
That's the
I
dream
mean,
aspect.
that's
of
to
it.
me, wow, and you should see I see all kinds of boats and Viking crews go by, and today they're all fishing for stripers, throwing them back because they're too big, and I
That's
mean,
interesting.
it's just amazing there, the sunrises are just beautiful,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can imagine. So there you go. And it's mainly, you work in administration generally,
Yes,
doing all kinds of computer work and paperwork and
yeah,
Dealing with all
and
that
time
stuff.
cards, things like that,
keeping track of everybody.
yeah,
You might as well have a good view.
Yeah.
Thank
a few, and good people,
Instead of being
a
stuck
lot
in a
of great
cubicle
people there.
staring at a wall somewhere.
I know.
Well, that's pretty good. That's all I really have. I'm always curious about people's work and what they've done.
And you could go on ledyard.com and see probably past minutes there. Don Greasy used to be the head there, and he retired some years ago.
Yeah.
But you can see some minutes there that maybe I'd pop up in.
Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you mentioned that you were from Massachusetts originally, what part?
I was born in Lowell, and we lived in Westford, and then I transferred over to Leominster. And my grandmother used to live there. She's recently deceased, and my mother moved to Fitchburg, and she's recently deceased.
Okay. And you said 5 years here in Hyannis?
We've had a house here for 5 years, but I became a permanent resident
Yeah.
finally around February.
And this was kind of your plan, was to retire?
Yeah, my
in the
plan was to
Cape?
come here and be here, and I've kind of made like my husband says I put 100,000 pounds in a 5-pound house.
And was it specifically the Cape that you were looking to retire to?
My husband came here a lot when he was younger, and we fell in love with a beautiful home 5 years ago, and yeah, both our dreams to come here and retire, but
Yeah.
now I'm working from here.
And your kids, one of them just recently married?
Yeah, I work at the Papanasset,
Yeah?
and she's a pharmacist, and my son works at Soup Ship as a contractor, where I worked. So,
We're
they're about
happy,
21 months apart.
well, we're happy to have you on our
Thank
town,
you.
and we really appreciate you choosing to spend your retirement with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in today.
Would you like me to stay, or am I?
You can stay or go, it's totally
No,
up to
we
you.
don't have to vote on it or anything?
We're gonna vote, but you
Oh.
don't have to stay for the vote.
I'll have to watch the video.
That's fine. And we'll be in touch with you later.
It was nice meeting you all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank
If
you.
you have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rima, come have a seat. I'm sorry, Nina, come have a seat. Rima, Nina,
Close enough.
I'm so close. This is Nina Wang, and she's a high school student at Cape Cod Academy. She's applying for the Youth Commission, and she's applying to a student member to a term expiring in June 30th of 2026. Councilor Mendez, would you like to start?
Sure. Hi, Nina, how are you?
Good.
That's good. Are you involved in any other student politics in your school?
What is politics?
Like a class president?
Oh, no.
No? What extracurricular sports? Any kind of clubs?
Oh, I joined the drama club, and I also am founder of an artist collective club.
Okay, very nice. I'm all set, thank you.
Councilor Kraft.
Let's see what you have here, let's see. Well, what are your interests?
Interest in art,
Yeah,
hand mural,
okay,
create some animation.
okay. You do that obviously on a computer, with animation, is that right? Or you do that, okay. And what year are you in school? Are you a senior now, or
I am a freshman.
freshman? Okay. Okay. How do you like it over there? You're at
How do you
the
like Cape Cod Academy?
Cape Cod Academy. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's in my backyard, so I know that's cool. Yeah. And so what would you like to do at the Youth Commission? How do you think you can help them?
I like the job fair activity.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like a very good opportunity for youth to find a job and maybe connect with our town, so I want to be a part of it.
Okay. Now, you're only a freshman in high school, so do you have any career, at this point, any career aspirations? Do you have any idea what you'd like to do? It's very early to ask that question.
I think I want to be like, I think it's still want to have a job is maybe have relationship with art, but I'm not pretty sure which job I will.
Okay. Maybe you work for a company dealing with animation or something like that. That's a possibility. Okay.
Councilor Burdick?
Councilor me. So, where did you grow up?
Oh, in which country? I'm from Taiwan.
Oh, from Taiwan. We had a young man from Taiwan. And
Oh, that's just my brother.
that's your brother. There you go. I thought so. Kind of resemble one another. But so you've been here about the same time then?
Yeah.
Like 2 years or 3 years?
It's like my second year at here.
Right. Does he like being on the youth commission?
I think so.
Does he still go?
Yeah.
So similarly, I'm trying to remember what the details of his interview were. But do you enjoy it here?
Yeah.
After about 2 years? Still getting used to the US and all of our ways and
I think that everything is pretty good, but only the language problem.
yeah, a little bit. That's all right. And it's an ongoing process, right? Learning English. I couldn't learn Chinese probably if I tried, unless I moved to Taiwan maybe.
Try.
I could give it a shot. Well, that's interesting. It's good that you're getting involved. And your brother is a senior now, or junior?
Junior is 11th grade now.
Well, there you go. Any idea where you'll go to college? You gonna go back to Taiwan or here in the U.S.?
I think I will stay at US.
Well, that's good. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Councilor Bloom?
I think all the good questions were already asked, and I think, you know, your brother needs to have you on the youth commission with him. And since he's already traveling to the commission, that means two people can travel with one car.
Carpool.
So I'm in favor of you being put on the youth commission.
How many students are in your class currently at Cape Cod Academy?
Oh, we don't have a lot of people. We don't have like, we only have, in my grade, only have 17 people. So we don't have class. We just like take like which class we want to go.
Yeah, but as in your level of school, your year of school, there's 17 of you. 17 kids that you would graduate with.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what kind of art classes do they have at Cape Cod Academy?
Oh, I think because I'm ninth grader, so I only can take like no more art class.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad. That doesn't seem very fair. Hopefully they'll let you do that in the future.
Yeah.
And do you have other friends from Cape Cod Academy that you think might be interested in joining you in the Youth Commission?
It's a good question because so many people change school like at 8th grade. So my friends go to other school.
Okay, well, they don't have to be from Cape Cod Academy. You could have other Barnstable kids that want to come onto the Youth Commission too. So we would enjoy you spreading the word to other Barnstable students. Yeah, so feel free to invite a friend. So, thank you so much for coming today,
Oh, okay.
and we appreciate meeting you. And now that we just got to get the rest of the family in here too, we'll know. We appreciate it. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Catherine Gulliver, goes by Kate, I believe.
Yes.
And she is here today for consideration of a reappointment for the Open Space Committee as a regular member to a term expiring 6/30 of 2028. And Councillor Crowe, would you like to start?
Thank you, good to see you. You've known each other for quite a while. What can you tell me about the Open Space Committee and how things are running there?
I think things are running pretty well. We just had a meeting last night to try to introduce people to the idea of either donating their land to the town or to a land trust, and what the benefits are for them, or having conservation restrictions put on their land, what benefits they would derive from doing that. We didn't have a very big crowd, but we had a few members of the public show up to learn about it. And we, in a couple of weeks, we're doing a walking weekend, which we do twice a year to introduce people to our conservation areas in town. And that's been quite successful. And we're working on the Cape Cod pathways. And, well, of course, we're closely connected to the CPC to approve of certain projects that come up. We give our opinion on whether or not we think these particular projects are worthwhile for the CPC to consider giving money to purchase for the town.
Okay, you purchased, obviously open space, but I'm saying, what if there's properties that are, say, landlocked with other, say, residential areas around it? Would that be something you're interested in as
Yes.
open space, or would there have to be some kind of public access?
It doesn't have to be public access. Open space, wherever we can obtain it, is worth having, whether it's, even if it doesn't have public access, it has benefits for wildlife or for the water table, whatever. So it doesn't have to have public access. People can still either put a conservation restriction on it, which we're really looking for, excuse me, for water issues in the town.
Okay. All right, so let's see, what else? How long have you been there already?
2 years.
Okay. How many members are on the Conservation Commission?
6.
Okay. And what are your general feelings about your effectiveness as a committee?
Well, we're only an advisory committee, we
Yeah.
don't have any power to do
Yeah.
anything, we just
Yeah.
advise. So that can be a little frustrating,
Yeah.
but that's how it is.
I've seen a number of projects come through since I've been here, and a lot of them are,
Yeah, there's some good
people are very
projects.
interested in having them included in town.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side, is the more parcels you take off, the less taxes we get, so you get that side too.
Well, you get less taxes, but you get other benefits.
Yeah.
From preserving the open space.
Yeah.
That balance out.
Yeah.
I mean, some studies, a lot of statistics given last night, I should have written some down, but actually the cost benefit analysis in general, people, it's better to save the open space than to just worry about the loss of taxes, because it really doesn't amount to much.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for you, Kate.
Counselor Brennan,
Me next.
unless you wanna ask something to pass, you can
No,
pass.
I'm gonna pass. So, hi.
I,
So my standard questions revolve around your professional life and experience.
well, I'm retired
There you
now,
go.
but I've had many, many jobs in the past. I used to work for the UN in Kenya, and I was a freelance photographer in East Africa for a long time, and I worked for a management consultant. I worked for Harvard University doing an Africana encyclopedia. I worked in real estate when I moved to the Cape,
All kinds of different things.
and I do a lot of volunteer work that's related to conservation issues.
Right. So where in East Africa specifically? Any place
I
or all over
was
the
in
place?
Kenya most of the time, but I also lived in Ethiopia and a little bit of time in Botswana.
During the troubled times? Well, I guess that could be till today.
I mean, it seemed like less trouble than what was going on in the United States.
Right. How many years was that?
10 years,
That must have been really interesting.
it was wonderful.
What made you leave?
I had a little child and I wanted to bring her back here to be educated.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. And you've been on this committee for 2 years. Have you served on any other boards, committees, or commissions in the town? No. Well, there you go. That's all I got. Thank you.
Counselor Bloom,
Oh, questions that were asked already were good, and I didn't realize you had such a wide history of employment.
Yeah, I
All kinds
didn't,
of
I didn't
interesting
stick with anything
things.
for too long.
Yeah,
10 years, that seems long.
yeah, very interesting background. I think you've been doing a great job on the Open Space Committee. I think you should continue.
Counselor Mendez?
You're clearly qualified, you know what you're doing, so there's no reason to ask questions.
So I have a question about the concept of open space in Hyannis. That's kind of come to light more recently with the 32 Pleasant Hill and just the idea that there really isn't like a playground for kids in Hyannis. And I'm just curious, I mean, we also had the, down at the
Twin
Rotary, Twin Brook, I think, yeah, I couldn't think of that word, those two words. So tell me a little bit about what you think the town of Barnstable might be able to do better to promote open space, and not just our kind of outlying areas where we have lots of open space, but in our more urban environment that we have here in Hyannis. What do you?
Well, it's very tough, as you say, Hyannis has virtually no open space. We fought to get Twin Brooks taken over by the town for open space, but that didn't happen, but I think the resolution now with Riverview School is pretty good. There'll be some open space. No playgrounds, I think the only public park in Hyannis is 1/8 of an acre or something. Clearly, Hyannis needs open space and less development. I think Hyannis should have a moratorium on development. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's how I feel about it.
You're allowed your opinion. This is
think
America.
Hyannis is is overdeveloped. Everything gets dumped in Hyannis, and I think that Hyannis needs a break. So, I
Yeah.
think that the town council can, I think this DCPC is a great idea for the downtown Hyannis. And I mean, there's not much open space left in Hyannis, so there's not much we can do about, there's not much to preserve there, but I think we can, it's not up to us, but it's up to the town to try to, be kind to Hyannis for a change.
Yeah, and as far as the conservation restrictions, say you own a piece of property and you decide to put a CR on it. The town, like the open space committee is kind of liaison with the legal department in the town to get that organized, like how exactly, if let's just say I have an acre, 1.25 acres of my house is on 1/4 of an acre and I have 1 acre and I decide I wanna put a CR on it.
Mhm.
Whose fingers are in that process of getting that done?
So you would contact either the town or a land trust. Barnstable Land Trust is wonderful in terms of advising people on this. You may want to give your land to the town, or the CR, have the town do it, or have a land trust do it. And so they tell you what to do. You get your land appraised, then they do their due diligence, tell you, if it's a piece of land that's sort of worth preserving, which I think most pieces of land would be worth preserving. And then, so either the town, and I'm not sure who in the town does this, but I know, because we seem to work mostly with the Barnstable Land
Yeah.
Trust, to advise people on the process they go through to get the CR.
Good, well, thank you so much for coming today, we appreciate learning more about you and your love for open space and land in general. Obviously, having lived abroad for 10 years, you probably have a very wide view of open spaces, so we really appreciate you coming in today.
Well, and we'd like to advocate too for all the conservation spaces that we do have in the town of Barnstable and people using them. It was interesting, we did a survey with the town planning department just now, because we're renewing the open space plan, of what people used in the town. And the highest percentage of people said they liked the walking trails. Second, the beaches, but the walking trails were what came in first, which was really interesting to see, because there's a lot of good places in town to walk.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time
Thank
out
you.
to come and talk to us, Kate.
Bye.
We appreciate it. Mr. Sampu, come grab a seat.
Cool.
This is Peter Sampu. He is here for consideration of reappointment as a regular member to term expiring in 6/30/2028 to the Conservation Commission. And Councilor Bloom, would you like to start?
Sure, well, I've seen Pete in action for 2 years too, so,
Only on video though.
only on video, yeah, that's true.
I was one of the ones who have always voted to be in person.
Yes, you
Yes,
did,
I have always voted to be
Yes,
in person.
you
I
did.
think there's more power to
Yeah.
people.
yeah, you did, when the vote was up, you advocated for the in-person. But tell us about your science background, because you have pretty good.
Yes, I'm a trained scientist. I have a PhD in primarily coastal ecology, emphasizing eutrophication from University of Rhode Island, an esteemed university. I worked for the University of Maryland system for 14 years down in Chesapeake. Again, an area of our country that has seen big emphasis on controlling eutrophication, sort of the polluting of our coastal waters. Chesapeake Bay, just in the 80s, when I was there in the 90s, received a lot of federal attention. It's still receiving, in part because it incorporates a vast drainage of the East Coast, where a large population is. I then worked as a university professor for Salisbury State University and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, teaching everything from introductory chemistry to graduate level environmental studies, primarily science-based, but a cross-section of applications of many different fields. I wanted to move my family back up here to the Cape. I actually had been coming to West Barnstable for about 62 years. I remember, no, that was up north. For about 55 years. My dad took me down here when I was early age for fishing in Barnstable Harbor. So I moved up here and ended up getting a job in education. That was my passion, teaching. And my dad talked me out of being an elementary school teacher back 45 years ago. He says, Pete, you can always be a teacher. Go get your science degree first. But I came back to teaching, and I taught at 2 different charter schools, one in Plymouth. And then when my daughters didn't want to go to high school there in Plymouth, as the charter school was evolving to be a high school, I applied to Sturgis. They already knew me. They already knew Dr. Pete because a bunch of my students from the middle school, intermediate school up in Plymouth were already going to Sturgis. So I got the job fairly quickly. They needed a chemistry teacher. And then I subsequently, my passion was environmental systems and societies, a really extensive cross-section of all the different sciences applying to atmosphere, water, continental drift, some political action on how do we manage our Earth better, international studies. So it was a 2-year course that my students would take, and that was my dream job. And I just retired. This is my first fall of not being a teacher for 31 years.
Wow.
So I'm finding myself a little more time. But my passion is environmentally based. It's almost a religion, I think, for myself. But humans, and here on Cape Cod, I mean, it's our biggest asset. Our environmental is our biggest asset, and we should manage it wisely. With long-term foresight. That's the background in a short minute or two.
Thank you.
Councilor Mendez?
I have actually 2 questions, one to do with this, and then I want your opinion on something that really doesn't have anything to do with committee. The first question is, what do you think is the biggest threat to our water quality, our coastline, so on and so forth? You don't have to say even just the town, because the Cape is
Right, exactly.
You know, so as far as the Cape goes.
So our coastline is rising sea level over the next 50 years.
Mhm.
I'm fairly confident of that. Greenland is melting. Again, this is information that I have been teaching as well at Sturgis for the past 15 years. Greenland is melting at an accelerated rate. The most recent estimates of it is that the melt is increasing exponentially. If Greenland melts, and again, it's not gonna be in 100 years, but it could be in 300 years, we have 18 feet of rising sea level. I have been very much involved for the last 10 years. I don't think I spoke to any of you personally, but beginning about 9 years ago, I sat down with any town councilor that would meet with me to talk about the long-term coastal resiliency project that is now getting instituted at Sandy Neck. And that is a realization by both our town and our state that some of our coastal structures need to move back from the shoreline. And you gotta plan for it. Your infrastructure gets ruined, and it's major money. With respect to water quality, and I'm gonna specifically talk about drinking water here because, well, drinking water and our freshwater use. Toxic algal blooms in our fresh waters, that really impacts our recreation. And or toxic algal blooms even in some of our salt water, although less so if it's a big flushing, if you've got tides. That's a big problem, and it's probably related to nutrients, whether it's from septic tanks, probably septic tank related. Drinking water, I'm very attuned to the PFAS problem that we had here in our town, in this village of Hyannis. And I've taught about that. I even wrote a curriculum for the Silent Spring at the high school level regarding PFAS contamination, cleaning it up for drinking water, and the chemistry behind it all. Sort of this dangerous forever chemicals. So thankfully, at the state level, and I hope continuing at the national level, an understanding of the potential impact of unintended consequences of things that we use that we don't think about. What will happen in 50 years to these things that we're using, and how will it affect our health and our communities?
Interesting. My second question has nothing to do with this, but it's more of a broad question about the town in general. And I think you're in a unique perspective to possibly answer it. You don't have to give me an answer today, but something to think about. The town, from the town council to all the boards and committees, aren't seen as credible. They're just not.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, Jeff? I just couldn't hear you because of the air
The
conditioning.
town council and town committees, including the one you're sitting on, aren't seen as credible by a lot of the public. They're just not. You sitting on a committee and you being involved with a divisive issue, you can bring a unique perspective to this. As a town, how can we craft it to come across as being more credible? Is it a communication thing? Is it a divisive thing? In your opinion, because like I said, you're in a unique perspective because you haven't served for 30 years. You were part of a debate with the wind stuff.
Yeah.
Now where you were usually outnumbered. So you bring a unique perspective.
I would definitely like to answer that, and I think it's an unfortunate condition in America in the last 5 years or the last 10 years. I'm a trained scientist. If I want my car fixed, I don't go to a fellow scientist to do that. I go to someone who's an expert in cars. If I want to, have my teeth worked on, I don't go to my auto mechanic with his wrenches and have him yank out like they did 200 years ago. The perspective that town council brings with, and I'll say our Conservation Commission, I am so proud of our Conservation Commission and the expertise that it represents with the broad selection of the folks we have on it. I don't necessarily speak to legal issues on conservation. I've got John Abadili to do that. That's his expertise. I think in America, it could be social media or just a divisive time that we're living in that it's not my place to speak on things that I don't understand, on conservation or even with the public. But with social media and sort of this loudest voice gets heard, I think that folks aren't asking people, does this voice have credibility? And the divisiveness or the lack of, quote, respect that we have in our town is related to loud voices that I would wish they had their facts better or would acknowledge facts that are facts. There's no such thing as an alternate fact. I mean, not as a scientist. As I'm trained to be objective. And I try to do that in my life all the time, in almost all my actions. My degree is a doctorate of philosophy. I've been trained in how to think. And a foundational understanding of that is facts build an understanding upon which you make a decision based on evidence. And unfortunately, that's less respected today. And that's the perspective I have, and I hope it changes. I hope, and I don't see social media as helping that cause.
It's interesting you say that because I totally agree with you. I often say I can tell you anything you want to know about glass, but I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
And I don't pretend to be.
Yeah.
And that's because of what you're saying is part of the reason why I decided not to do this anymore. It's part of the reason why.
But again, having an understanding like that you speak from your experience and your professional understanding, I mean, that's really valuable to a community. And that's what I try to bring to conservation. I'm a scientist. We have a couple other scientists there, but my professional background is in coastal waters. That's what my PhD was on.
Yeah.
And that's what my research when I was at universities was on.
Mm-hmm.
Chesapeake was my proving ground. And I survived on soft money, they say. So grants, I gotta write grants to get a paycheck. And I did that for 13 years before then moving into a university position with the University of Maryland system.
I appreciate your opinion. It's a very introspective and it's very interesting. And, you know, you've really helped me with my thought process. I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you for that question because it's a very important question.
Well, it is, and you know, like I said, I'm from here. A lot of people aren't.
Yeah, yeah,
And this isn't the town that I grew up in.
yeah.
And to be honest with you, it's rotten at the core right now. And it's a shame. It really is. It's a shame. That's why good people don't want to serve on things like this. It's a shame.
But we need good people.
Good luck.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, thank you. I'm all set.
Me? I've seen you from afar, as he said, many times, and in person, though, at your
Excellent.
illuminating public comments, entertaining.
Oh, yes, oh, thank you. I try to do my research very thoroughly on that,
Yeah,
too.
of course. And, you know, of course, they put a pretty, you know, your responses are far-reaching and eloquent. I don't know that I have any specific questions for you. You also raised a daughter who's got a lot to say as well.
If she's active, well, my dad was active in the town too. Andre Sampu, I follow his lead. He was on Barnstable area recreational shellfishing for many years. He started bars, actually.
Really?
Yeah, back in 2001, I think. He and Fred Dempsey were two of the folks that started.
Long history of public service in the
Yeah,
Sampu family.
yeah.
And you've been on the Conservation Commission, as Tom said, for quite a while, right?
Yeah, over 2 decades.
Yeah.
And I serve on the Sandy Neck Board as a conservations person on that. But yes, Sandy Neck was what brought my dad down here in '86 and what he would bring me down here when I was a youngin'. So we actually would go duck hunting out there back in
People
the
still do
early,
now, don't they?
back in the '70s. When you could just take a 4-wheel drive and go out there. And anyone could do that. You didn't even need to be a town resident. It got more popular, and that sort of lack of control on who can do what out there, because, you know, we just drove out there.
The Wild West.
Yeah, it can really damage an environment fairly quickly. So that was a good change that happened at Sandy Neck.
Well, thank you for all your service. I think you're doing a good job.
It's an ideal that I have, and it follows with my family too. And I'm real proud of my girl Ella.
Okay, me too. That's all I have to say.
Councilor Crowe?
You, I told them just now, you were teaching at school.
Yeah.
At Sturgis.
Yeah.
Tell me the courses you taught.
Introductory chemistry to every single student at Sturgis East. So they all knew Dr. Pete, which is a real joy.
It's a requirement, I'm sure, that they had to take it. And,
At that school it is, and in most high schools it's not.
it wasn't when I was in high school. They don't do that a lot anymore.
I know it.
It's a tough
and
subject.
it was just a half-year course that I taught. That's how I could teach everyone. I taught 50 kids in the fall, 50 kids in the spring. And I taught it in a manner that I think is valuable for an educated American citizen. Too many American adults, they don't understand chemistry. And they don't have respect for a chemist's opinion necessarily, someone who's trained in. You get advice on something. So I try to teach them sort of the big pictures of stuff. I never make them memorize the names of things or dead men. Like old dead men that used to, were famous and you had to memorize, what a waste of time. Why is chemistry important in your everyday life? So I taught that. That was 3 out of my 5 classes.
Which other ones did you
My
teach?
other 2 were environmental systems and society that I spoke about
Okay.
during my overview of my professional life. And that was extraordinarily rewarding. And I had those kids for 2 years. I would take a cohort as juniors, and then I would teach them all the way through to their senior year. So that means I had about 30 to 40 students that I taught for 3 years. I taught them all chemistry as their sophomores, and then some of them chose to take my class for their junior and senior year science course. And that was just so, I'm still in touch with many of the students, even years after they've graduated. It's hugely rewarding.
Well, that's an advantage of a small school. You don't get that much anymore.
Yes, no, you don't. And that's why Sturgis elected to have the 2 campuses, to keep that small school environment.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep it personal.
That's all I have.
I guess my question is a carry on from Councilor Mendez's comments and question. We're just wondering, when you think about, where we are as a society and as a town, what do you think you personally could do to maybe bridge the gap between you said it's kind of like a religion for you, and your certainty that you know best and that you have the science.
I won't say, so you put a sentence in there, I know best. No, I can give information for folks to make their decisions.
Well, I've heard you many times say, I am a scientist, I am a
Yes.
scientist, I am a scientist. So I guess like on the receiving end of that is kind of the denigration or put down of a person who doesn't have your accolades. So I guess I'm asking you, how can you bridge the gap of your knowledge base to somebody who's maybe is not as well educated? When you're communicating your position to the public, where do you think you could maybe how could you bridge that gap that might benefit us in a place where we have 32 Pleasant Hill that's very contentious? We had Twin Brooks and we had wind farms and we've had, I've heard you come in and the constant kind of chatter is, I'm a scientist, I'm a PhD scientist. So I guess I'm asking you as one person in a committee that holds a regulatory power in our town that has wetlands protections guidance. So I mean, it's not like you're pulling stuff out of nowhere. You're using the regulations to make decisions. So how do you think you personally could bridge that gap, knowing what Councilor Mendez has brought forward?
Well, I will clarify the reason why I say I'm a PhD scientist. That is a legal statement for the record when we go to court. So that stuff gets taken to court when or if we say no to something and the applicant says, no, I completely disagree. If I don't say that I've got that background on the record, right, when I'm giving a bunch of evidence, then I can't do it secondarily to the judge who makes the decision of whether conservation's made the right decision or not. So I do that very specifically for a legal reason of my opinion, at least based on the information I'm giving you, is because I have a extensive background in that. So that's a legal reason for court decisions. The 32 Pleasant Street, actually, I didn't like that coming forward. I thought it was a poor plan. I didn't think it belonged in Hyannis. But as a conservation commissioner, we vote based upon the regulations of the Clean Water Act and our town bylaws. And regardless of whether I thought it was something that should have happened or not, I can't say no just because I think it's a wrong thing to do. Conservation doesn't have that power. Conservation Commission doesn't have that power to say, no, you shouldn't be doing that here. It's not good for the local community. It's not good for this, piling everything in Hyannis. But we don't have that power in conservation. In terms of trying to bridge information, and I don't know if some of my students were in front of you a couple years ago, so that was something I was extraordinarily proud of. So some of my students from Sturgis, who are town residents, spoke their understanding and their background on the bringing ashore of the wind turbine cable. And students, even if they've not been my students for 3 years, so only one of them was my student for 3 years. The two others were not, that spoke that night. But they knew they were students at Sturgis East, and so the effect that I could have on a population of young people, or my daughter, is something that they make their own voices heard. I give them information, I say, you know, you gotta be careful about that, that's not, you know, that's, if it's your opinion, you gotta say it's your opinion. But if these, you know, if, look at the facts, okay, John, you better go check out that fact there, because Dr. P says you need to know a little bit better than that. So my hope was in retirement that I would be able to continue to work with the youth here on the Cape, not just in Barnstable. I'm inquiring at Sturgis if I can continue. I used to run the environmental club there. That I can't do it as an outside retired person, but if another teacher there has an environmental club and if they let me be part of it, then I could get youth involved, because that's the future. Another thing that I've been working on, again, this is through my Sandy Neck connections, there is something called the halfway house. And it's only because it's halfway out there, it's got nothing to do with a halfway house, it's sort of the inside joke. But I would take students out there and they'd experience an overnight trip there, and it's no electricity, no plumbing, no one living out. We were out there in February. And when you can get someone, whether it's a student or I know recreation is trying to get folks out there too, not overnight, but to get them out at that halfway house, because you walk kids out there, you show them the beauty that's out there, and they realize that open space, or Sandy Neck in particular, is a real gem to our town. So I'm trying to bridge a gap here as well. I'm leading a walk out on Sandy Neck with I think it was referenced here by the woman in front of me. On the 10th of October, I think I'm doing that, talking about, you know, the geology of it, the ecology of it, and the benefits that are out there. I really wish that we had our Conservation Commission meetings in person. I find it less confrontational. I find that nonverbal communication between people, even if they have disagreement, it mends stuff. I really don't like stuff all through video.
Well, I think the mending really comes from the two sides, finding a thread in the middle that they could both agree upon. And I think that's where we've really gone wrong in this town. In my time in the seat, I think we haven't done a good job.
And it leads to.
And I guess, you know, it comes from things like saying, you know, I have this perspective and I know because of data. There's people on the other end that might not have your knowledge, but they have a real felt sense and an experience of how their neighborhoods are being. So that's what I'm talking about, is there's a very science hard line, this fact leads to this fact, leads to this fact. The part that is left out of that conversation is that people live their lives and they live it in a feeling world. And we haven't done a good job to honor the coming together is we're all concerned about our environment. And it may not be to the extent that you have that fervor, because you have an experience over here that you've lived, but you have other people over here that are living their experience. So it's like kind of like, what's the middle? The middle place is we don't want the area behind 32 sucked dry. I think both sides could come together and say that. And now there's regulations that make that challenging, but if we started from the place where we say sucking lots of water out was hugely traumatic to the people who live there and the environment, it may come back and that will be great, but maybe we didn't do a great job of parlaying that to the people that needed to know, and it created a lot of problems. Like we don't do that piece. We stay on our sides and then we just keep yelling at each other. So I think that's a real downside of where we have a lot of data and we have a lot of people feeling hurt and unheard, and there's not a bridging together of those two things.
I'm gonna recommend, we at Conservation have put together a big list of questions for our town DPW that addresses those concerns, and we posted it.
Yeah.
I'm almost sure we posted it, and we're expecting DPW to come, and they are supposed to be answering those questions that the public has raised. And I think it will be a very good educational experience for the all. Councilor Mendez, what I am also worried, and this relates as well to sort of misunderstandings and disagreements. I taught at the graduate level even about offshore wind. I lived in Denmark for 9 months back in the 90s, working for the Danish Ministry of the Environment. Denmark has been a world leader in wind power for decades. When we were talking about the offshore wind coming ashore, what I found very discouraging was misinformation on social media that wasn't fact-checked and was just accepted by people that got very emotional. And yes, they could be very emotional because they're being told stuff that isn't true, isn't right. And that is what's leading, I think, to a lot of, people, like we had 72 million gallons of water being pumped. No, it's not gonna be 72 million gallons. You can take the math and extrapolate it, but that's not what's gonna happen on that cone of depression. But as soon as you say 72 million gallons of water, you go, oh my Lord. The wetlands, the pond, they can't take that. But it was information that wasn't quite right. And I tried to point that out. And our DPW has got to come in with really good answers that they didn't have. And that's why we put together, a bunch of us put together this list of questions that have been posted now publicly that DPW has to answer when they come back to us for that project.
Well, I think the only thing I would say as a person who lives 1 mile from a proposed electrical substation, I'm not happy. I don't care how safe it is. Call me not in my backyard. I don't think that you would probably want a 10-acre electrical substation in your backyard either. And if you do, I have a house to sell you.
Okay.
I think this is my point is that, the facts are that it's all safe and good. It's still the felt experience of the people who live in and amongst these things. It's a negation of the experience. I live in a residential neighborhood that now will have an electrical infrastructure potentially in it. And I'm not good with that. I think there's better places where that could have gone. Now, that's not your decision or my decision. And recently there was a wind farm that's 20 years out and produced 28 to 32% of its total expected energy. That's what it yielded, 28 to 32%. That's not a great return on investment. And, technologies may be improved in those things. Maybe those 20-year-old turbines are much better these days. I'm sure that
They are.
Hopefully we've progressed, but there's still a lot of controversy about how people feel about it. And I think that's part of the middle is we'd want to be good to the environment, but on the same hand, I'll be honest, not in my backyard. I'd prefer to go in an industrial area where industrial things should be living.
Okay.
So again, it's just a coming together. I'd like to save the environment, but I also don't want to ruin where I live because I have to drive by it every day. And it's going to be big, and the people that live next to it, their quality of life will be impacted. So they're going to be asked to do the heavy lifting, and their quality of life will be impacted to save the environment. So, and that's that's with any issue.
Yeah.
That's the things that happen. But it's about learning to listen to both sides because we're asked to listen to the facts, but we need to listen to the feelings as well.
And make decisions for the betterment of the general population.
Just a comment?
Yeah.
Keep on saying what you do and who you are and your background. Because that in itself is the problem, is people don't like to listen to facts. Because sometimes facts don't carry what we want or our narrative. There's been plenty of development down here that I didn't like, I don't like, I wish it never happened. But the facts are we needed the population. That's the facts. The facts are we needed the workers. That's the facts. The facts are we have an older population that needs people to take care of that older population. Those are the facts, okay? The facts are the erosion of our beaches. Those are the facts. And just like I've had to do my whole life, sometimes you gotta take some cough syrup that don't taste good. And Half the people moving down here, I wish they never had, but we needed them here.
Yeah.
That's the facts. So just because they're facts, just because people may not like those facts, doesn't make those facts wrong. Because as long as I lived here, we've all had to accept things that we didn't like. We all had to accept. My father was one of those people that used to go out on his beach in the 70s on Sandy Neck. He didn't like the fact that he had to buy a sticker. But we had to buy the sticker to save the environment. He didn't like that fact. Okay? I don't like the fact that where I grew up is nothing but buildings and houses and stuff like that. But I needed somebody to take care of my mother. We didn't have the population down here to do that. So we needed somebody in those houses. Those are the facts. Sometimes facts aren't nice things. Sometimes they go against our own narrative. Okay? But facts are facts are facts. That's all. So keep on saying what you are, who you are, what your background is, because it's important for people to know where this information is coming from. And just like that, just like Betty's Pond, that's in my precinct, okay? They made a big to-do about draining Betty's Pond and all that. Didn't take in consideration we are in drought conditions, that's why it's lower. The pond, I have a friend who lives on Betty's Pond. I'm at her house all the time. She has the second biggest lot in Hyannis. I'm there all the time, okay? That thing was going down before they started pumping. And it was reasonable why they did the pumping. And a question that I asked Dan Santos in front of people on Betty's Pond is this something you do when you do these stations? Yeah, they've done it all over town.
That's one of the questions, or one of the bits of evidence we want DPW to come to us.
Yeah.
You've done this before.
Yeah.
What's been the result, and what are the repercussions, and how quickly does it respond?
A very, very close friend of mine who works for the EPA, I called him up and asked him about it, and he said, this is exactly what they do. The pond will come back, but they have to take in consideration that we got no rain all summer.
Yeah.
So those are facts. But when it doesn't go to people's narratives, then people argue against those facts. And like I said, we may not all like facts because we can all argue against facts because of our feelings. And I'm not talking about the substation, Kristen.
No.
I'm not talking anything about that. But those are facts. So you keep on coming with facts. You're a scientist. That's what you're there for. That's what people defer to you and ask you questions for. That's your expertise.
Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you.
You need a glass wall in your house, you call me and I'll give you my expertise. Kristen fixed my back, because she's a doctor. She remember my back? She's a doctor. She helped fix my back. That's her expertise.
I'm sending you the bill, just kidding.
Send it to Mark Ellis.
Thank you for coming tonight, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a
Good day.
rest of your day.
You too.
Take care.
Larry Moran, come
The one and
on,
only.
best for last, Larry.
That's it.
I'm gonna go very back, but I won't miss what I already know it all anyway.
5-minute break or not?
Yeah, I'm
You
just
need a
gonna go, I'll be
No,
right
I
back.
know, but I'm just.
Oh.
Do you mind if I go just grab a drink really quick?
Okay, we're gonna take a break, everybody.
Just really quick.
4 minutes.
4 minutes, that's all you get.
All I need is about 90 seconds.
Well, Seth's going about. Okay, so next we have Larry Moran, who's applying for the Council on Aging for an alternate member vacancy, and I don't have an expiration date, so we can get that data.
There's one up above it for Hannah Tamish also, but it doesn't have the date. I'm not worried about the
Yeah,
date.
so I'm just stating for the public, just
No,
in
it's
case.
okay.
So, boy, Larry, I'm gonna start this interview, okay? Is everybody okay with that?
You're gonna what?
You're the boss.
You're gonna
I
start?
feel like we should have just said Larry Moran gets a seat on the Council on Aging, because we all know Larry has attended many meetings.
I'll agree with that. Not to interrupt you, but I'll vote him in right now. I'm ready.
And I don't have any questions, because I know that you've been going regularly. I do want to give you the opportunity to speak on anything you want us to know about your application, because I think if we all had to raise our hands right now, we would all say,
Well,
so
I want
please
Men-
speak,
I want
and
Mendes
then
to
I'll let
start.
anybody else have a question.
I'll leave it up to you. If anybody wants to ask questions, I will. I can give you why I'm doing it, or why I'm considering doing it. And where do you want me to start?
Why this committee now? My favorite question.
Because I see they're struggling. I've attended about 5 or 6 meetings there. Got to know John Jope a little bit. There's a variety of people there. There's only one other man, I forget his name. There's a lot of women, which is fine.
Tom Coyle, I think it is, right?
I don't remember, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But in the process, they have gone to the point where they do not have a chair, they do not have a vice chair. It's a rotating thing, and I've learned to compliment them on everything they do to procedural. But after the last one, which was just not that long ago, I realized that, and I turned to John, and I said, are there any vacancies here? And he says, well, I think so. Well, I was a little surprised when I saw that this was an alternate, because you previously have already appointed 3 other people. But I don't mind that, that's fine. And Hannah Tamish isn't here, but you may want to consider her. But I think the important thing that I see myself doing is going in and trying to alleviate the uncertainty that the members have. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to conduct a meeting. They don't know how to go through the procedures that there's a woman named Kelly who works at the senior center. She's the one that was giving instructions to them. So I think maybe I can help them there. And being an alternate, I asked John by text, I said, other than not being able to vote, are there any limits? He said, no. Well, I don't care. You know, and I'm looking for a 1 or 2 year deal anyway. I'm waiting for the Red Sox to sign me up so I can finish my career.
We need pitching.
But when it comes to the aging process, the last I checked, we're all aging, me more than the others. But in the process, they have gone on what I call a tangent, a lot of projects that really are never going to be supported. They're never going to be financed. They really don't. I mean, I couldn't tell them that when I was there. I don't know that I'd tell them now. But I think that, and we're dealing with other committees that I'm going to not try to merge them in with this conversation just yet. But each of these committees need to pick if we're going to do 5 things, maybe we should be doing 3 things. Maybe those are the things that we should really be focusing on. And this committee is one of those committees, because they have lollipops in one places and paving a highway in another. You know, it's that sort of thing. So that's sort of what I see. And so I'm not, what I was considering asking you doing is putting it on a situation where there can only be one reading, one call. It's not necessary to do 2. It should be done automatically anyway, but I don't care right now, because right now there's an alternate situation. I will go to the meeting on the 15th, and I'll sit in on it, and I'll sit in whatever capacity they want me to be there. And I get to know the people a little bit better. So that's why I'm going. I'm not going there for learning the Wetlands Protection Act. I'm not going there to learn what regulations they may have. I'm going there to try to say, let's get yourself focused on what you really want to do. And then if they have a funding issue. They lost a lot of their funding, and they didn't know what to do about it. And so maybe there's other ways of doing it. But I see a need there. I see a need in other committees, but that one that's lovable. You know, they're sort of fuzzy. You know, they're okay, and some of them I want to say no, they shouldn't even be around. So that's my answer. So now it's time to ask me questions. Come on, Charlie. You ask me questions all the time.
Councillor Crowe?
Only question I have is, do you think you're old enough to serve on this committee?
That's a numerical thing.
Councillor Burdick?
I don't have any questions, no.
Councillor Bloom?
Well, Larry, you think the sun will set today sometime?
The sun will set.
I'm voting for you.
Councillor Mendez?
Yeah, I mean, just a comment. I've watched a couple of their meetings, you're absolutely right. I think you can maybe give them some advice, maybe a little bit of guidance, because you are at so many meetings and you first the parliamentary procedure, so you know your stuff. So I think you'd be an asset, absolutely.
Okay, I have one last question. There was a discussion, I don't know that you were at that meeting and I don't know if you watched it, so just think I can speak to the comments. That maybe the Council on Aging needs less members. That maybe we have too many members, too many alternates, and so what do you think of that concept? That maybe we need to pare it down and make it a little more exclusive, I guess.
Efficient.
My reaction at this point is that unless any of these people want to walk away from it, I'd leave it that way, but I would recommend to them that they create a 3-member subcommittee. The subcommittee is just to take a project and work on it. The rest of the people on the committee or commission, it's a commission, isn't it? No, wait a minute. It's a council.
Aging, Council on Aging.
Yeah, so that's probably a thing, that's a good question. That's what I would recommend. Because getting the things that I've learned, I won't get into my history when it comes to leadership, but I've done tons of it. And in the process, the biggest thing you gotta do is you delegate. Right away, you come in and just say, I'm delegating this to you, I will expect you to get it done. And that's what I would do. And,
Yeah, well, there's been some question about this Council on Aging having been undermanned for a very long time. And so it's kind of like, are we setting it that we have X amount of spaces and we're having trouble filling that? I mean, we have 3 already, we've put some people in and we now still have 3 vacancies on the alternate positions. That maybe we need to kind of hone it in so that we actually have a select group of people who are willing to work on the projects rather than making it so big that it's a big social hour and there's not a lot getting done because we're not fully staffing the committee,
It's
so.
not a social hour on the ones that I've
Yeah,
attended.
I mean, I'm just talking about, Councilor Burdick used to say that it's like a place for people. I'm not saying that's what they are, what I'm saying is just give it some thought when you're there, because I think that's one of the questions we have as the Committee on Committees, is that maybe it's just too vast and it's maybe there's just too many people and not enough focus, so, but maybe you'll be able to help them focus a
I
lot.
support you on that. I think the concept of associate and alternate is absolutely ridiculous. You're either on the committee or you're not. And, but that being the case, historically, they go back and they put people in that capacity because they want them waiting in the wings. And, so,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you for coming. That's the end of your formal interview. I am going to ask you if you want to make public comment, because I skipped over that, so I'm gonna give you that
I do.
opportunity to do that now, so.
Let me tell you I'm not gonna get into overly doing my 18 years on the Conservation Commission. I'm gonna tell you this, that there was never any turnover. People got there and they hung in forever. There were 2 other people plus myself. Scott Blazes had been on for 19 years, and he was not voted back on. I came along, you know what happened to me. George Gilmore had a filament, he left. But the reason he left is something that I won't get into publicly. But, so I think the problem is that some of these committees it's not top heavy, it's that there's no turnover. And I think that you know, you've seen my my suggestion for turnover, or term limits. So that's one of the issues. The other issue is that conservation is a technical committee. So is zoning. So is Board of Health. These are regulatory type of situations. But I got no teaching on it. I wished Pete was still here. He's the only one that taught me anything. For the first 3 years, he bothered to teach me. We went out. He'd loan me his waders. I went in up to my waist looking at projects in the water. I learned from him. But the people I learned it from were the consultants and MACC up in Worcester and Bettina Abbey. Those are the people that taught me stuff. And the applicants and the abutters, I learned more from them than I did from the staff, because they never went out and looked. So one of the things that you asked the question, how do you get to the point that you make communications to the community, to the city, to the town, whatever you want to call it? And I think that it goes back to when Jessica Rapprosetti was here, because what she would do, she would bring the committees in throughout the year to give a report. There were 40 committees. She'd bring 2 committees in every time. You have a 15, 20-minute shot, then you say what you're doing, and then you show that you have this interaction, and then all of a sudden maybe the public gets more informed about it. That's just an idea. And another thing to pay notice about with conservation is that they had 3 very significant court reversals just 3 months ago. Dock and pier regulations that I won't name the people on the committee that hounded it, but I was totally against it. I wrote memos and filed it with the court system. In the process, however, the dock and piers were all reversed by judges. And that's because of what was going on at the Conservation Commission. So, let me try to think what else you said. Pete Sampu is a lovable guy. If he appeared in public the way he did today, he would be much more acceptable. But it's like he says, when he says what his credentials are, people say, is that all he's going to tell us? So, and the other thing is that Lee is not a leader. I don't know where to begin, but I'm giving you information about him, and I just think I just hope that you don't reappoint him.
Okay. All right, thank you for your time today.
Okay. Should I sit here or should I go home?
You can
go back
sit in the back row, or
Okay.
you
Well,
can
do you
head
have
home.
any other questions from me at all?
I do not.
And you look at me and say, "Oh my God, I'm not going to ask him a question because I'm going to give you an answer." No, I'm just kidding. No, I know. Okay.
We know you,
You know
Larry.
enough already.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry.
okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna take things a little out of order. Item F is correspondence from chairs, boards, committees, commissions. We have a letter from the chair of the ZBA regarding a member of the ZBA attendance, also requesting to move Manny Alves to a regular member position. So I'd like to ask if somebody would like to make a motion to move Manny Alves to a regular member position.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we did, receive yesterday a letter of resignation from Rodney Tavano for, the ZBA. So there'll be an opening coming up from that. And I'd like to vote on part of item D, which is the zoning board of appeals. We have 2 associate positions open to term expiring 6/30/2027. Okay, I'm confused.
What's this?
There's 2 spots?
No, I thought there was one, and then we had the one open up. But I just got the letter yesterday, so I'm wondering how that got on here. So
Maybe Cynthia knows.
Cindy? Still with us?
Yes,
The two,
Yep.
the position that was open by Mr. Tavano yesterday is on this agenda. I'm wondering how it got on the agenda if we just got the letter yesterday.
There's a vacant member position, which the committee wrote a letter asking Mr. Alves to move up to that one.
Okay,
And that would leave his associate member position open because that's what he currently is. Now you'll have Mr. Tavano's associate position if his resignation is accepted. So you'll have associate members open and not a member open if you move Mr.
oh,
Alves
okay,
to
I get it.
the
Yeah.
member position.
Okay, perfect.
So we have 2 associate positions available,
Yes.
Correct.
CPA, okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have 2 positions and we have 2 applicants. And I'd like to ask a vote of whether we want to vote on this or we wanna leave this open to ask more people, considering we just found out yesterday that there's opening. Anyone have an
Well,
opinion?
I mean, so Joe, we put him on
Housing.
the housing, or was it housing or he?
He's on housing.
But Deb Dworkis,
Has been
who I
sent.
think is very qualified, and was up for the planning board and we passed her by, and I think that she would be an excellent person to have on the zoning board. So at the very least, I think we should put Deb Dworkis into one of those spots, and if you wanna leave the other one open for a little while, and then if no one comes around,
Okay.
Joe is still there.
I agree.
Seems reasonable.
Okay, so you're making a motion.
I'll move to nominate Deb Dworkis for the,
Okay.
Second.
or to recommend Deb Dworkis for this one of the open associate positions.
All those in favor, raise their hands.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll leave the other ZBA open, we'll maybe advertise that at the town council meeting. In light of us nominating Deb Dorcas, I'd like to make a motion, or somebody make a motion to reappoint. We have Farley Lewis and we also have Kate Gulliver, both for reappointments. And I'd like to make, if anyone would like to make a motion to reappoint both of those people.
So moved.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
So we had Kate Gulliver come because Deb Dworkis was on for that? Okay.
Unless we wanna put Deb Dorcas on 2 committees.
Well, not me anyway, I don't know
Okay.
about the rest of us.
Alright.
But that was why, I was wondering, because
Yeah.
when she was here, I was like, why did she come
And-
if we're gonna do
and,
Farley Lewis?
Farley Lewis is away, that's why she's not here today. She would have been here, but she's out of town. So
Very good.
we've made a lot of efforts to get them
Yeah.
here. So would somebody like to make a motion for Farley Lewis to reappoint as a regular member to a term expiring 6/30/2028?
So moved.
I'll say.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And would somebody like to make a motion to reappoint Kate Gulliver to an open space, to the Open Space Committee, to a regular term expiring, let me make sure I say this right. 6/30/2028.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Question is are we ready to vote on the Conservation Commission, or does the committee feel they need more time?
So we have 2 positions open? Meaning, not open, but the 2.
Reappointments,
Yeah,
yes, so we
reappointments, but-
have Tom Lee and Peter Sampu.
Uh-huh.
And then we have applications from Rob
Rob
DeMello
DeMello
and Heather Swenson, so we have,
I'm ready to, excuse me, I'm ready to vote, but depending on which way it goes, don't forget that if we're split here, we always bring them before council and they can bifurcate them, because we're gonna have to vote for them on a full council anyways.
Yeah.
So,
so would
As a point of
anybody,
clarification, Councilor Turkelson, just as a point of clarification, if you reappoint those 2 members, you still have 1 vacancy.
Well, that makes it easier then, I guess, in a way.
okay. So we have 2 reappointments, we have 1 opening, and we have 4 candidates is what we're saying. Okay, so, would anyone like to make a motion for, an appointment to the Conservation Commission in general? So we have, any of these 4 people can fill these 3 spots. So I think we should put everybody on the table and then go from there.
Well, I think that, and this is just my opinion, obviously, that Tom Lee and Pete Sampu have been there a long time, and we have discussed whether or not, whether we deem that that's like an appropriate thing at the Committee on Committees. But there has been no recommendation to come from that committee yet. And they both know what they're doing. They've both been doing a long time. It's an important committee. They always have a lot of it's very technical. I mean, for me, I don't have a problem reappointing both of them. It's more about the seat in contention. And for me, and because this is such a technical committee, Rob DeMello has a lot of experience with conservation because of his work. I mean, those are my 3 thoughts on this topic. I mean, I could make motions to those effects. I don't know if you guys want to do things one at a time and then have a discussion on each one, or I don't know how you want to proceed with that or how you guys feel about that. But that's my opinion. I don't know if anybody has anything else to say.
I agree with you with Rob DeMello. Longtime business owner, local guy, knows his stuff. So I agree with you as far as Rob DeMello goes. As far as Tom Lee and Pete go, Pete to me is a no-brainer. Tom, I have some questions, but I was impressed that he has a succession plan. So I have no problem reappointing either of them.
I agree with, both of my colleagues who've already spoken. I had a conversation with Rob DeMello prior to the meeting where we interviewed him. I really liked where he was coming from. And he definitely has a lot of experience, and I think he would bring something really good to the Conservation Commission.
Okay, Councilor Crowe?
I don't disagree with almost everything that was said. I do have the thing with Tom is that he's on 3 committees, and we sort of are looking to have, one person chair one committee and not more than one committee. So that's something that's coming down the road. Now, what did Tom say about his he said a succession plan, but when's he talking about stepping down, or I didn't get that, or?
I know, and that's the thing. I mean, we're working toward that, like you say. Once we get through our committee on committees and all that jazz, I don't know.
Excuse me.
Well, I mean, we can't mandate something that we haven't agreed
that's what
upon
I'm
as a
saying.
council, so
Yeah,
I agree
it
with
would
what you're
be-
saying.
Yeah.
I also think, if we do reappoint Mr. Lee, I mean, he has 3 years. He sounds like he's kind of getting people in place, so hopefully another 3
Right.
would take care of that, because he's already been at it a couple of years, so.
And if he has a new chair come in, maybe he'll be vice chair or at least be there to advise, as, you know what I mean, as we go out of it, as we go away from the, because I don't want to be, like you said, we haven't formally put that's not a policy that we have in place yet. And I don't want to appear hypocritical in that regard, because it was one of my ideas, that we all talked about and you guys agreed, so. But I think, all things being equal, that I think that's a reasonable way forward for now, and anyway, let's see what happens next.
Okay. So, would anyone like to make a motion for reappointing Tom Lee?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'll go with you together.
And would anyone like to make a motion to reappoint Mr. Sampu?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And would somebody like to make a motion for Rob DeMello
So moved.
to the
Open spot?
Yes.
Is it alternate?
alternate or associate, whatever that one is called. Did you make the motion?
Somebody did. Charlie,
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Somebody will
All
second
those in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so what else? So we have a couple people that didn't show.
Yeah. Is
And-
Hannah,
Nina Wayne.
Oh,
Nina
yeah,
Wang?
oh, sorry,
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
go
Nina
through these
Wang.
people, thank you, I forgot, I just assumed we would all.
Oh,
we're all gonna-
Christina Carrington,
would
Nina
anyone like to
Wang.
make a motion to, for Christina Carrington to Recreation Commission to end at 6/30/2028?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and would anybody like to make a motion for Nina Wang to the Youth Commission student member to a term expiring 6/30/2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Did we do Larry already?
Kate, huh?
Did we do Larry
We
already?
haven't gotten there yet, but
Oh.
definitely. Kate Gulliver, we did, Tom Lee, Sample. Would anybody like to make a motion for Larry Moran to the Council on Aging to a member vacancy, an alternate position, probably ending 3 years from now, we think?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Are we gonna do Kate Gulliver and?
We did it.
We did.
We did Kate and Farley.
Okay.
Yep, okay. So, next meeting.
Don't forget, I'm done.
Is this your,
We gotta make you come again one more time. Do you want one more time, Jeff, or do you want us to wait until
We'll do one more
December?
time. We can do one more
Okay,
time.
one more?
Yeah, we'll do for old time's
Full
sake.
time sake. Alright, I like your commitment, I appreciate that.
When is this, oh, it's be the swearing in would be in December of the
November,
new.
November.
like,
I think it's the Monday or Tuesday after the election.
Right.
so the election's on the 4th, so that'd be the 18th?
No.
Is it on a Tuesday or a Thursday?
Election's on a Tuesday.
No, but the swearing in,
Oh, I think it's the Monday after the
Oh.
election, I think.
that would be the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay, so next meeting, how about October 21st? Tuesday, October 21st?
Great.
3 o'clock? Sound good?
I have another meeting
Oh.
on that day, historical,
Come on, John.
at,
4 But you just gotta watch that one, you don't have to go to it, do you? You
I
can
go
watch
to
it
them
later.
because, they're only once a month.
You wanna do the,
I can't do the week before that because I am not here, so we could,
If we,
if we could do it the 28th,
whatever you guys wanna do is fine with me.
October
Yeah.
28th.
Oh, hold on, when you,
I won't be here on the
Oh,
28th.
geez, Charlie, come on now.
I'm bringing my wife up
All
to,
right, so let's do the 21st. Where's the historical meeting at?
right here.
At 4 o'clock in this room?
If you wanted to do a meeting right before, that's,
yeah, cause we can do 3 o'clock
Okay.
and just keep it light.
Okay, 3 o'clock and we'll, if we
That's
have a
fine.
ZBA and these two people.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so the 21st at 3 PM. We'll wrap it up. In honor of Jeff.
There you go.
Going out on a swan song, right, Jeff?
That's it.
Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Well done.
All right.
Thanks.
October 20th.